Are you ready for insurance season? Hi, and welcome to the KC CHIROPulse podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants and sponsored by Chiro Health USA. We are here bringing you cutting edge business strategy for your chiropractic practice. This is Marissa Matea, and I'm Dr. Michael Perush. We're your hosts for today. Marissa, insurance season is here.
It's here. The end of the year is always an interesting time to be paying attention to what your patients have going on with their insurance. So a lot of times this time of year, it's open enrollment season, right? So what does
Yeah,
that mean to our practice? A lot of people feel like, maybe that really doesn't pertain to our practices, but it really can impact you if you're not planning ahead and you're not paying attention.
that's right. And there really is a lot going on this time of year. You've got Medicare plans being chosen, Medicare Advantage plans being chosen,
Mhm.
ACA market plans are opening up and being chosen. As providers, this is the season when we can choose to be, if we're on Medicare, where we can choose to be par or non-par. Remember, you can't opt out, so you don't get that choice, but you can be par or non-par. So there really is a lot happening. And Marissa, let's talk a little bit about why it's so important to be ahead of this.
Well, one, it can dramatically affect your practice if you have, let's just say, major companies in your area that are now choosing a new plan for their employees. How does that affect your practice? Are you on that plan? Or are
Sure.
you not on that plan? Will you lose patients because they feel like their insurance is not something that you accept? Are you prepared with communication for that? Or are you going to join that plan? Does it fiscally
Yep.
make sense to you to do that, right? I
Right.
mean,
And you don't want to be surprised by these questions when a patient comes in and says, "Hey, we're switching at our work from Blue Cross to United Healthcare." You don't want to look like a deer caught in the headlights. You want to say, "Hey, no problem. We're on that plan," or "No problem. Here's why we're not on that plan, because you're actually going to save money out of pocket by us not being a provider. Let me show you how." And so
yeah, I think you
you
just
want to
hit
be proactive.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So this time of year is a great time to start asking patients when they're coming in, "Hey, are you gonna have any insurance changes come January 1?" Give your practice time to make those changes or at least have conversations ready. We wanna make sure that people understand how that may affect them because we all know patients don't understand their insurance, right? They really don't understand it when they make changes and they have a new plan. So,
Oh, yeah.
especially if
It's a
it's coming
brand new
from
day.
an employer, especially if it's coming from an employer and they're not having the plans put in front of them where they can truly, really go through in depth what's happening. They get an overview typically of what it looks like. They may change to an HSA plan. Do you accept those cards in your office? All of these little things can really affect your practice if you're not ready.
Exactly. So we need to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, but we're talking about insurance season being here and how this is important and how it affects your practice. So we'll be right back. Okay.
In today's economy, every dollar counts. Families are facing tough choices, having to reconsider what was once essential to them. But when it comes to healthcare, no one should have to compromise on their well-being because of financial constraints. That's where Power Health USA steps in, the solution for your practice. We understand the financial pressures families are under, whether they're insured, on Medicare, or paying out of pocket for treatment. By offering discounts on care, you can ensure that your patients can still afford the treatment they need. At Power Health USA, we're committed to making sure no family has to sacrifice their health due to financial hardship. We'll work with you to create a game plan that keeps your waiting room full and your practice thriving. And here's the best part. Offering affordable care not only benefits your patients, but also positively impacts your bottom line. So why wait? Join Power Health USA today and join the ranks of the most successful practices. Because when you put your patients first, everyone wins.
Hey, we are back. This is the KC CHIROPulse podcast, and we're talking about insurance season being upon us and how that's going to affect your practice. We talked about some good stuff so far, how we've got to be ready and proactive when patients come in
Yeah.
and want to know if we're on their new plan or what kind of changes are happening to my plan. So the other thing that follows with this is we need to be prepared to do verifications. We need to be prepared to look at, review, and download new medical policies for all these insurance companies and things if they're available so far.
Yeah, there's definitely an administrative side to all of this, making sure that we're prepared, making sure we know what changes the new plans may have. Do they require prior authorization? Do they have the same coverages? Are there limitations on the plan? Of course, all of these things factor into how it's going to affect how you collect from patients, how you're going to bill. You may have completely different codes or modifiers that this new plan requires. So, lots of little things that could trip you up or slow down your billing process and your, of course, return from billing process, that's the getting paid part. So, it can affect those things. So making sure that you kind of know prior to January 1, again, it's all being proactive and being prepared for what's coming and not letting these things affect you after January 1, where maybe you send claims in, you get denials back. Oops, that person actually had new insurance and I didn't get that from them. Now we're 3 weeks down the road. Now we've got to get the new insurance. Now we've got to rebill. Now we've got the process can really be delayed if we're not careful.
Yeah, it can. And of course, we don't want delays. We want to be able to get paid on time and so forth. And we don't want to upset patients because if we don't know the answers to the questions of what does my insurance cover, and
Mhm.
let's say we don't know, and we submit billing, and it comes back in an unexpected way where a lot of things weren't covered, and they went to patient responsibility. Now, I'm going to tell you, most patients are fine paying for things that may be their responsibility if they know about it up front.
Yeah, it's that transparency.
It's the transparency thing. Exactly. And so if we can't look like we're being transparent, then the insurance company has a great scheme to make us look like the bad guy. It's called the EOB. And when the EOB comes back, the EOB looks like the insurance company's on the patient side. Patient comes in dragging that and going, explain this to me. Why do I owe more than you told me I did?
Yeah.
And it just creates a wedge between you and the patient. And we never want to do that when possible.
Yeah. And I think one is just good customer service, right? To take
Sure,
care of patients,
absolutely.
to verify and make sure and encourage them to verify as well. I still think that's a huge part of the process is making sure that patients are involved in their care and their coverages so that they understand what's going to happen. So if you're the only one verifying that, they can only rely on you, so you become the bad guy if you're not careful. So if you bring them into the process, now you all are a part of it. Now everybody knows what's happening. You're more on top of it with them.
And, the other thing that happens this time of year is reimbursement schedules start being posted.
Yep.
And, I'm gonna tell you, they're never etched in stone until January comes, and sometimes even then, they're not etched in stone, but,
Mhm.
you do wanna be starting to take a look at those, and so this is a good time of year to do an insurance reimbursement analysis. What does that mean? Well, that means you really sit down and take a look at, is this insurance company paying us in a manner that we can be profitable without overutilization? And because that gets us in trouble, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we have to really dig in and think, okay, especially if you've been in practice for a while. Okay. If you're early in practice, maybe you want to be on every possible insurance plan you can be on, maybe. But
Maybe.
if you've been in practice for a while, it's really important to do this analysis and make sure that you want to be on this plan. Is there a better way? Are they just not covering anything? Are deductibles and co-insurance and things, are the percentages just too high?
Mhm.
And patients are going to be out of pocket a lot of money. And you could do better for the patient and you could be more profitable by having a cash plan, like a CHUSA type plan.
Yeah.
So this is a really good time to kind of drill down and take a hard look at that.
Yeah. I mean, what we're doing here is forecasting, right? We're just
Right.
looking ahead to make sure that we are financially stable. I
Right.
mean, that's the big part of this is making sure can we survive on what we're getting paid from the insurance companies? That means, are we covering our costs to deliver care? Are we in that profitability range? And if we're not, those are plans that you should probably take a look at and really see how many patients are on those plans. If you have just a few patients, maybe time to consider maybe removing that from your practice and moving them over to, like Dr. Bruce said, a couple cash options.
Yeah, I remember a funny story. You came to me one time, long time ago, and you had done an insurance reimbursement analysis at the end of the year, and you said, "Hey, this particular insurance company is only going to be paying us." I don't remember exactly. It was like $9 or something, and cutting us on everything that we submit. And you looked at me and said, "Do we still want to be on this plan?" I'm like, "Why are we on it anyway?"
Yeah.
So you really got to take a look at some of those things because some of these insurance companies have gotten to the point, and it's not going to get any better, where they're cutting us so bad, they're bundling us, they're reducing our services, they're putting things to write off and not even to patient responsibility, so we can't collect from the patient, and they really kind of have your hands tied. And so when it comes to a profitability factor, some of these insurance companies just don't make sense to be on anymore.
Yeah. And I think you have to analyze that this time of year and figure that out because there are processes in place with those companies to actually remove yourself from those plans. And some of them are several months. So make sure that if you are looking to remove yourself, that you're giving yourself ample time and knowing when that impact to the practice will end or how long you have to stay on that plan and those kind of things once you've given your notice.
Sure. Good point. We need to take another quick break. We're talking about insurance season being upon us. So when we come back, I want to revisit the medical policy idea. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay.
Pat's Chiropractic Consultants, your partner in chiropractic success. We are dedicated with one-on-one guidance to bring you all your practice management needs. Let's supercharge your practice. Give us a call today.
We are back. We're talking about the insurance season being upon us. And I said before the break that I want to talk a little bit about the medical policies. And we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I see this as a big place where so many practices are skipping the step or don't even know about this. And I know, Marissa, you can speak to this, but these medical policies are like gold when it
Mhm.
comes to dealing with insurance companies.
Yeah, so every insurance company out there has a policy on any kind of coverage that they have. So this isn't just chiropractic, but it's any coverage that they offer. So they basically outline and give you kind of their expectations, I'll say, of what they expect from you as the provider, what kind of coverages they have under there, whether they cover wellness or not. Of course, most of them are a no on that,
Well, no, yeah.
but they typically write that out in writing on these policies. So if you are on a plan, my recommendation is always print and laminate, keep it up front, and have that handy that you could pull out and actually have to show patients. This is what the company does in general. This is how they cover chiropractic care. This is what your plan looks like. And then you can have their printed information from the website or the information that you gathered from hopefully a contact that you've made with the insurance company to get really good detailed information, you know, and then you couple those together. I recommend keeping those up front and just having those policies on hand. It's just really important. But some of them go even as deep as giving you what kind of conditions they expect from you, what kind of services they expect from you. I mean, there's some of these plans out there have some very detailed policies. So
Sometimes they even tell you how to document.
exactly. It's just amazing. Now, some of them do not. I will
Yeah, they're not
preface,
all the
you
same.
know, they're not all the same, but some of them are incredibly detailed. So if you are on a plan, go read those.
Yeah.
Have your staff read those and print those off and have those handy. It just helps with transparency. Again, we're always looking for how do we have a good communication with patients and build trust with them. And that's a great way to do that is to have those things handy and be able to show them exactly where you're getting that information from.
And those policies also tell you when you get the EOB back, what the EOB should look like. And I don't mean it tells you how to read the EOB, but if you go by the policy, if the EOB isn't paying per the policy, then the policy gives you the fodder to fight against the insurance company to pay you correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh,
sometimes at the beginning of the year, as they transition their systems and things with their new codes and new policies and so forth, their systems aren't correct and your billing could be off. So the if you know what the policy is and how they're supposed to be paying, then you can look at those EOBs and know if you are or aren't.
yeah, exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
So, insurance season, it is here and
It is
it's
here.
important. So, make sure that you're really on top of things. And a couple other things. The knowing what the Medicare deductible is going to be this year. It's 288, is that right?
I'll be honest, I don't
285,
yeah,
288, somewhere
looked at
there.
a couple of times and I don't remember. I'm so sorry off the top of my head. But yeah, it's right in there. It is going up and it does every year. So just make sure that you have looked into that, you know exactly what that is because again, that impacts January 1. So do the patients that are coming in have the deductible to meet and do they need to pay you out of pocket? Or do they have a secondary that covers? I mean, knowing that information ahead of time will help with your collections upfront, making sure that you don't miss a step or have to send statements and all that after the fact.
Yep, absolutely. So, insurance season is here. Be prepared. And, go to catsconsultants.com. These are the kind of things that we are helping doctors keep track of. Changes in insurance industry, changes in policy, changes in coding, as well as great strategy to be profitable in your practice. So, Marissa, anything else to add?
Couple quick steps, just make sure that you're asking patients if they're going to have any plan changes. Especially your Medicare patients, are they going to go on an Advantage plan or are they staying on Part B? Ask about employer changes to insurance. Are they offering any new one? And ask beyond what the patient is actually getting so you know for other patients as well. Make sure you're verifying that insurance. So make notes, verify those benefits come January 1 once those are live and active, and then make sure that you're educating your staff and training them on some of these details so everybody on the team is aware of any changes coming.
And Marissa, how do you recommend they verify their insurance benefits?
Well, number one, you can go online, but here's the but. Most of the time, your online benefits don't give you details. So you're not going to get, do they cover specific codes? A few probably are allowing you to verify some of that now online, but honestly,
Mm.
phone calls are the best. Yes, are you gonna be on hold? Yes, that's why we have earbuds and different things like that so that we can still maneuver around the office and really be able to still work while we're on hold. So don't let that be a factor that you think you're tied to the desk. Use tools that are available to us nowadays. There's a lot of technology available to allow us to be still be mobile and still work while we're waiting.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to the KC ChiroPulse podcast brought to you by Cats Consultants and sponsored by Chiro Health USA. We appreciate all of you out there. Please like and subscribe and tell your friends and colleagues about our show. We're growing like crazy and it's all because of you guys. So everybody have a great rest of your week and we will see you soon.
See ya.